Welcome to Monday's Leftovers, where we break bread over Sunday's soul food. First and foremost, thank you for dining with me. The goal here, or the background behind it, is that it's been on my mind for a really long time to turn Sunday sermons into supper, or my notes from Sunday sermons into supper, and so we are going to sit down and break bread together. Like, this will be our supper, not our last supper, I don't think, but our supper, where we fellowship together, where we talk about his word. And so I will be using the notes that I take, and I didn't have my notebook at church today, so I used a piece of paper, but I'll be taking my kingdom keys, or my kingdom takeaways, from the sermon that I received, in order for us to kind of fellowship and discuss how we can apply it. What are our takeaways? In these segments, I won't read the Bible verse, because I am a firm believer in, if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And so in order for me to get where I am in my journey, I had to sit down with God on my own. I had to allow him to reveal things for me, that way when I go to someone else's table, it's supplemental to what he's already downloaded in me. So I would love for who's ever engaging, for you to go read the verses that's provided to you, and then come back and let's talk about it. But Pastor, this past Sunday, he came from the book of Luke, chapter 8, verse 4 through 9. And just to summarize it, this is the parable of the sower who spreads the seeds, and ultimately the flourishing of the seeds depend on the foundation in which it was laid on. And so there is 4 different types that's referenced. There is the wayside, so there no foundation. The second one is going to be the rocky foundation. The third one is the thorny foundation, and then lastly is the good foundation, or good soil. I'm sorry. And so the opening question, or the guiding question that Pastor asked us, was, what kind of soil are you? And if you like me, I'm good. I'm good soil. I be trying to help everybody. I be trying to be better. I'm good. Not really. And I won't go over the revelations that I had when I went home and sat with it on my own, but I'm gonna go over the key takeaways. So the first kingdom key received was that life becomes a groundbreaking experience. And what that means is that as we go through the trials and tribulations of life, because we all have our own times and seasons that we experience the wilderness, those moments will reveal our soul quality. So I took away from that these foundation types are cyclic. Like, because nobody is perfect, we will continuously experience different types of foundations, right? There will be moments where the word instantly activates in us. There will be moments where it probably just goes over our heads. And then there will be other moments where we receive it, but it don't really go nowhere. The goal here is that we are all actively working to become, along with the Holy Spirit, but we are all actively working to become good soil consistently, so that word that the seed is the word, but so that seed that's in us dwells in us, but not only dwells in us, that it flows through us, that it flourishes, that it grows and is fruitful, and it allows us to multiply. And the first seed is the wayside seed. My my wording was that this is the spiritual ignorance. This is where God is trying, but the enemy is winning. And Pastor said, this is when the devil tries to talk you out of the promises that God has for you. That is when you're probably so deep in your trenches, and that word isn't rooted enough in you to where the only thing that you know is, woe is me. And I've been there before. Where it's like, I ain't trying to hear none of that, not intentionally, but I am so overwhelmed by life experiences that I can't. That is the wayside seed. In reality, the goal here is that if we can look in the mirror, we can figure out how to self-correct. And that's typically what I use the word for. So thinking about it would be more so like, in the moments when life is trying you, how are you responding? What type of soil are you? The second one is going to be the rocky soil. And this is the one that you received the word, Pastor, that was good, clock it, clock it, clock it. But when you walk out of them church doors, you don't apply it. When life started lifing for you, you don't remember what was received, and who you are in your flesh shows up first. Road rage is a perfect example. I thank God I've come a long way in that. But that's an easy, relatable example for all of us, that, you go in, you get your words, you're ready to start growing, and somebody try you. And just like this, you are who you are in your flesh. That's the rocky soil. the note that I have is what you're going through becomes greater than what you know. So even though we know that all things are possible, even though we know that he is our comforter, even though we know that he provides, he heals, he restores, even though we know these things, in the midst of our moments, we forget those. We forget how great our God is, that he is bigger than anything that we can experience. We forget that. That's a rocky soil. We've all been there. We'll probably be there again. But again, the goal is good. And that's my actually motto for my class this year. But the next foundation is the thorny foundation. Me and Pastor had two different downloads for this, and I think that they are consistent, just two different ways. So Pastor said that the thorny foundation is the person that's distracted and their faith weathers. You move in your feelings. Baby, I've been there. Actually, I have to put it on my wall. It's in my bathroom. It's in both mirrors in my room because it was that serious. But faith is in your feet, not your feelings. That's Hebrew 11:29. Because a lot of times we go through life and we forget the fact that God got us, and we start moving in our feelings and we start operating from that place. We get discouraged, we get doubtful, we get fearful. All of those things, those are not fruits of the Spirit. Those are acts of the enemy. Reject it, rebuke it in his name. And so a footnote I put was believe anyway. When I was reading this though, and I will read this one, it said other seed fell among thorns, which grew up with it and choked the plants. When I was reading that, I was looking at it like that's the person that receives the word, but it doesn't flow through them. That word might dwell in them, but they don't. That is like that holier than thou Christian, where it's like, I know every book in the Bible, every word, but I'm not using it to grow his kingdom. I'm using it to judge. I'm using it to condemn. I am using it for not good, essential. I don't want to use evil, but call a spade a spade. But I looked at it like that. Like that's that person where you got the word, but you're not using it to bless others. You're using it to bind other people. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And then I put a footnote question of, is it beneficial? Because Pastor did get into that. The last one is good soil, the place we all like to think that we operate out of. And so this is the person where the word in you becomes beneficial. So this is where I was referencing the flow through. Like you receive the word, you receive the download, but it allows you to bless other people. It allows other people to see Christ in you because of the way you show up. You operate in love, long suffering, joy, kindness, all of the fruit. The footnote that I got from Pastor says you represent the kingdom. You become the divine intervention. You are that person that when people see you, they know you got them. You know what I'm saying? Like they know that you're going to make things a little bit easier for them. You become that person. And then closing it out, he put, in order to improve the soil, you got to add a little weight. As a gardener improves the soil, they add water, which weighs it, makes it heavier. But in real life, our weight is our trials and our tribulations. And it's been consistent with what I have been studying, where that wilderness period, those trials, those tribulations, that is intended for you to grow. It is intended for character development. By how you respond in those will determine what those look like. And it don't be a matter of, oh, I did that one, so I don't have to go through those storms anymore. No, then those storms increase. As you grow, so does what you go through. And so a motto I used to use is grow through what you go through. Like the idea here is that in those moments you are rooted in his word, or his word is rooted in you, and you understand that everything happens for a reason, and that you're going through what you have to go through in order to become who you are to become. Take it, receive it, be better. And then lastly, just closing it out, I will always try to do, not necessarily an altar call, but like my song of relation. And I have a song that I believe kind of wraps up. I know that the message here is allow God to use you. Allow God to grow you through what it is that you're going through, so you stop going through the same lessons that you have been going through, because the lessons will always come, but they will differ as you grow. So will what you experience. So give yourself to God. Let God grow you. Let him continue to prune and refine you and make you better, but apply it every single day. In every single step you take, in every interaction, ask yourself, what kind of soil am I? The goal is good. Thank y'all for joining. Here I am.